Racism between guards and incarcerated individuals. Yeah, this is an interesting situation. Working in the cafeteria, um, all the cafeteria workers, not the people that were incarcerated, but the actual state workers who were there, as well as the corrections officers, I believe every single one was white. We were down in southern Illinois on the border, so these aren't just white people. These are country country white people. I don't know what word to use to sound offensive. I don't want to label all country people as racist. So let's just say they were the good old boys. It was a good old boy network. And there was a lot of language that wasn't so shocking when I was there because I was trying to just get through myself. I wasn't going to be a social justice warrior while I was in prison. I waited to get out of prison to go that route. And you would never hear that word, but you'd hear a lot of other ones I'm not going to repeat because we didn't really talk that way. But very offensive words, and the power dynamic almost made them more powerful because, I mean, that incarcerated person can't speak back to you or tell you to shut up or tell you you're being offensive. They have to just sit there and take it. Um, Two more small stories about racism issues. First, um, working in the cafeteria, even if you're not in the cafeteria, even if you're just eating there, sometimes you'll try to smuggle food out of the cafeteria and then you could have it back in your room, which would work as a commodity, especially if it was some sweets. You know, you guys have your dinner, you go back to your cells, you're watching TV, and somebody wants a piece of cake or some cookies, and hey, guess what I got? You know, that's a lot of noodles or some ride outs or a couple bars of detergent. I mean, regardless, that's a good payoff. So it would be sneaking these cookies or whatever out, wrap it up in your napkin, and just tuck it, you know, in your pockets. Uh, but there would be three or four correction officers on the way out randomly frisking people. And I never got frisked. And I guess you can probably assume who did it was always the black individuals. And I shouldn't just say just black people of color because we had plenty of Latinos in there with me as well. But yeah, I never got searched once. I mean, I don't think I necessarily look like somebody who wouldn't be sneaking food out of the cafeteria. I am a big guy, and I was a big guy then. But that was, hey, that's basically institutionalized systemic racism. But that wasn't quite as bad as the worst thing I ever saw. Two people, I guess I would call them friends, they came in on the bus with me, so we had a chance to get to know each other. One was a black individual, one was white. One day in the cafeteria, they were all in there with me. They got to fighting. I don't know what started it. And it was, you know, both guys got hit a couple times and we broke it up because we don't want to bring any attention. We want the COs coming back because in prison they do this thing where they punish everyone. For instance, if those two were fighting and they found a mark on somebody and we didn't talk, we were all going to lose privileges, you know. So what happened is, you know, the fight broke up. It was all good and had nothing to do with race. You know, a lot of people tell fairy tales about race wars and gang wars in prison. I think that's more for the maximum securities or other states. I definitely am not sticking up for prisons, but I didn't really experience any of that when I was in Vienna or Jacksonville. So anyway, back to the story. We're leaving the cafeteria for the day. The white guy had a little mark above his eyebrow from getting hit, so he pulled his hairnet down to cover it up. So on the way out, almost like somebody had already talked, the CEO immediately was like, take your hairnet off. And you can't say no. So he took it off, and the CEO saw what he was looking for, the mark on his head. So what happened? Who put that there? But he died denying stuff for a minute. Then the black gentleman who got in a fight with him stood up because he knows you're not talking, you're going to seg. So he tried sticking up since we were all friends. I still never found out what the fight was about. But the black gentleman's like, man, we got in a fight over this and that. We're all good. It's over with. It's killed. Nobody's bleeding. And the CEO's like, well, you put a mark on this guy, so you're going to seg. And the white guy himself was even like, no, that's my friend, man. We hit each other. We hit it, you know, it was a fight. Who started it? Well, nobody really started it. It just popped off. Regardless, the white guy went back to his cell without so much as a write-up. The black gentleman, I believe, went to seg. We never saw him again. I don't presume that, you know, something like he fell off the face of the earth. I just assume they moved into a different housing unit after his stay in segregation. But in a place like prison where permanency is the only thing you had to hold on to, you don't like jumping around a lot unless you're very uncomfortable where you're at. I mean, that guy had to start over from scratch, and with the record on the inside. So yeah, that was a messed up situation. Seeing the disproportionate punishment of a black man as well as letting the white guy off. I mean, should have let them both off. Stuff happens when you pack a bunch of us into cages. When we get out of the cages, people get aggressive, and respect's a big issue because you don't have a whole lot of commodities in there. You got respect and you got commissary. So that's about it with racist situations that I actually came across in there. I wasn't quite as awake to a lot of discrimination and stuff like that, to what was really going on. A lot of stuff was interpreted, or probably not interpreted correctly by me. You know, I was just a scared guy in prison. First time, I didn't know what was going on. I was going to keep my mouth shut.